Okay, we're live here on YouTube. So we're gonna do something really, I don't know, Hannah, can you see me on there? Or is it cutting my head off?
Yeah, I did.
Alright. All good? Move back a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk today a little bit about page layouts, right? And what's important when you're actually looking at a website, right? And I've written a bunch of different things here, and I'll review them. You can take a look at them really quickly. But page layouts and how people are experiencing your website is really, really critical. Right? Because number one is if you go to a website and it's a shitty experience, you're not going to continue to go to the website. Like people for a long time gave Craigslist a lot of flack for this. And they got away with it because no, it's Craigslist. But most websites can't get away with it, right? So when you're thinking about a page layout, I've written this a bunch of times. You want to think about the user experience. Now, my wife is a user experience designer and figures out where things actually go and are laid out, right? So if we take a look at this room, for example, right? It's a glass, right? Like glass walls and stuff like that. It's the architecture of the room is very important, right? Where we put the desks, right? When I first was in here, I had desks like this, and it was like kind of pandemonium. You were here for that, right? Now it just seems this is the most appropriate layout for all three of us to be in here, but it might not be, right? There might be better solutions. So when you're a website owner, that's also something you need to start to think about. Is like, all right, how do people experience things on their phone, on the desktop, big screens, small screens, right? The whole point of a website is for people to experience content, right? They want to experience it in the best way possible. However, it's also to make money, right? So we've talked about that, and that's critical. Because you want people to experience your content, but you also want them to show them an ad experience where they don't get so upset, where they're just like, oh, okay, clicking away. And every time there's a layout that's like a poor ad experience, that's something where it's like, or it's a poor user experience. Users click away. Okay? So that's something that when you're thinking about creating a website, and we're thinking about building a website, and you're thinking about monetizing a website, these are things that are critical to how you're going to run your website, right? So we've seen this system before where I've shown you. We have an ad over here, and you had an ad over here, and we have some content. Right? That's my website. Right? However, there's some other ways to experience ads, right? Remember, because we're in the ad business, we want to make sure that users see our ads, right? There's something called viewability. That's something you're going to start to hear. What is the viewability of an ad, right? If somebody's looking at a website and you see an ad down here, except you're only looking at this ad like right here, and you can only see this, the viewability of this is nothing. You can't see this ad. Somebody might be paying for it, but you can't see it. So when an ad shows up and you can see it, or what they call above the fold, ATF, that means you don't have to scroll down, right? That's above the fold. If it's below the fold, you have to scroll down, and then you'll see the ad, and the viewability goes up.
For ads that you can close, is there a different kind of?
That's also an option, right?
Or the ones that pop at the bottom and there's like a little cross where you can just close it.
Let's talk about those.
Yeah.
Right? There's ads that are sticky ads, right? So at the bottom of the page, you're scrolling, it's kind of annoying to scroll, and you're like, oh, we can close this right here, right?
Yeah.
That's another experiential thing, right? So it closes this, it gets rid of it, and you can experience the website again, but you don't have to use that. But people still pay for those ads.
Right.
It's just, you don't have to see it. There's something called like a slider, right? In the middle, you're reading the content, and all of a sudden, slides in the middle.
Yeah.
Then you can X out. There's pop-ups. There's all types of different layouts and experiences. So when we're looking at different advertisements, looking at the layout of the website, these are things to think about when you're having when you're designing websites. Okay. The mobile experience that people have is also a little bit different, right? Where people see their ads on mobile. Remember, phones are over there. Phones are different sizes, right? So when you're a designer, you want to make sure you design it for the right types of phones. There's also something called infinite scroll, right? That applies to phones more appropriately to phones, but there's also desktop phones where there's websites that you just constantly are scrolling, right? You don't ever have to click. There's just news story after news story after story after story. That's called infinite scroll. There's something called lazy loading. Lazy loading is something that we do, and it allows you to have the ad kind of follow and like load up when a user is just sitting there on the page. It's kind of loading and loading, and you're like scrolling. You're like, oh, and the ad actually shows up, right? Again, we talked about sticky units, where an ad is just stuck at the bottom or on the side as you're scrolling. It doesn't actually move, right? So if you're looking at a website and you're like, oh, okay, well, I scroll down the website, I don't have the ad on the side anymore. That's not a sticky ad. But if you continuously have the ad stuck, you can start to see the ad. That's called a sticky ad. Okay? Now there's one more thing that I want to talk about. Again, this is going to be kind of a short lesson, but this is a critical lesson. We'll probably go over this again. Is something called slideshows. Okay? You guys have all seen it, right? The 10 celebrities who are fat and now thin. Right? The best pictures of Kate Middleton. Right? Yeah, I want to see that. And the best way that these websites do this is they'll have the article name. Right? Picture. They'll have something called the next button. For you to see the next. Right?
Yeah.
But they'll also have, I gotta standardize this one, is they'll have ads over here, right? They'll have an ad over here. And also ads down here. Sometimes they'll have content under here. Google requires that too, so right? But as a consumer, you're just like, oh yeah, I want to click on this as many times as possible. I want to see more pictures, right? So as you're clicking this, right, this is page 1. We talked about this last time, where every time there's a new ad page, you get like a user's, like they refresh their page, right? So they'll go to the next page. Right? Article name. Got another picture. There's picture 2. Also have this. Have your ad. Another ad. Right? And so on and so forth. And you're like scrolling through, oh, picture, picture, picture. Sometimes in certain situations, certain layouts, like Yahoo does this, they give you like a little break, right? So they'll do something like this, and then on page 3, they'll be like, oh, you gotta see an ad right now, right? And then they do it again. These are all different website layouts. They're all trying to generate a certain amount of revenue for you, for the website, while also trying to get the best experience to the user, right? But the user's like, oh my god, I saw another ad, let me click out of it, right? If you're scrolling through 50 different things and it's easy to scroll, the page is reloading really quickly, it's okay. If it takes forever and like the ads are not showing up and you know your pictures aren't showing up, I mean you want to see the content. So this is how the website layouts, when you're starting to think about it, that's how website layouts are built, right? Now, a couple years ago, people got pretty savvy about this, right? And Google had like a typical standard type of ad. I don't know if you guys remember this, where this was a Google ad, it's like, you know, click for, you know, local pub or something like that. And then it had a big arrow, okay? So what these guys would do is, you know, they'd actually put the Google ad like right here, under this like arrow, so it'd have like little content and then it'd have this big Google arrow, because Google wanted people to click on it, except users didn't really want to click on the ad, they wanted to click on this next button, so they got confused. So people were like, but Google pays on like what they say. I'm just gonna wrap this up. But basically what would happen would be Google would pick it, right? And people would be like, oh yeah, this is, and they get paid thousands of dollars. Google did not like this whatsoever, because people actually didn't want to click this, they wanted to send to the next page. So people had to move this like further down, right? It couldn't be the next button, it couldn't so you know,
So then
layouts.
is Google still paying that website to do that? So they're still making money either way, right?
They are making money, yes, they are
Okay.
making money on it either way. But
So
this is more of a CPC, this is a cost per click ad. But if they move it over here, it's not gonna click as much.
Okay.
Make
So
sense?
it's better for the website for them to have the Google ad underneath? Like, cause I've gotten confused before, so is that better for the website too?
Yeah, because they make more money.
Okay.
But as a user, you're not happy, and Google is not happy with that. So Google's like, no, we're not gonna pay you for the whole stuff.
It's happened to me. It's really frustrating.
It's very frustrating. And Google is like, no, we don't want that. We don't want to confuse our users, and we're not paying you to generate what they call fake clicks. Right? If you want to click on the ad, great, click on the ad. But if you're like trying to confuse the consumer, no, Google's not cool with that.
So Google's the only one who stopped doing that, cause I still see that.
No, everyone still does it.
Okay.
It's just they try not to put it next to this next button as much, because they don't want, you know, Google doesn't want that kind of stuff happening. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, you guys have any questions or so far about this? All right, great. So thank you, YouTube. We'll be doing some more training on this. Yeah, and see you tomorrow.